Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of On the Rise with Candace Cordelia, a BroadwayWorld production. I'm a little flustered and I'm botching my own name, and it's only because I am here with three fantastic and talented artists we have one wrestler in the group, pro wrestler, and I can't wait to talk about a project that they are all deeply engrossed in and have been performing in and sold out, mind you, in Jersey City in late September. It's called The Last Match. It is an immersive pro wrestling rock musical. A lot of things happening at the same time, but very excited to talk about the project and talk to all of these three wonderful individuals. We're just going to go down the line. I have Matt Cardona, pro wrestler number 13 on the 2022 PWI 500 list. We got to shout that out. And starring in The Last Match as Alexander Swagger, the show's lead heel. We'll talk all about that. I have Amber Ardolino. You may have seen her on TikTok. She's a TikTok extraordinaire, but also currently on Broadway in Funny Girl and also in The Last Match as the fabulous Jenny. Welcome, Amber. And last but certainly not least, we have Ramin Karimloo. He is the leading male star, Ben Vengeance, in The Last Match. And you also have seen him in Funny Girl, on the West End, all over Broadway, international recording artist. I think I've said it all. Hopefully I've done a great job.
I'm blowing up on TikTok too, so I just
everyone's blowing up on TikTok, doing all the things. But thank you all so very much. This is quite an honor to get all three of you in this Zoom conversation about The Last Match. And you know, I love obviously Broadway. I love pro wrestling as well. And seeing the two come together, I mean, from what I understand, this is the first time this has happened, and it's super exciting. A sold out show in Jersey City, September 26th. I mean, first and foremost, for all three of you, how was the audition process? What was that like?
I just got a DM asking if I wanted to do it.
There it is. There it is.
I think finding actors who want to do pro wrestling against a pro like Matt, it becomes slim pickings. It's who's foolish enough. And, there's me and Amber.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Jeremiah we are all in Funny Girl together, and I guess we all just kind of knew each other from that and felt like a good fit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Jeremiah, obviously, as Amber said, he's in Funny Girl with us. And then he was just talking about this idea. And I've been a big pro wrestling fan, especially back in the 80s and early 90s, mid 90s. So when we were talking, he was just riffing off coming up with a concept album. And I said, well, if there's any way you want me to help, let me know. So I kind of offered my services, and he was like, well, let's do a song. Fast forward 3 months, I'm in the ring learning that pro wrestling is not as fake as I anticipated. And it may be scripted, but those bumps are real. And it was probably the most enjoyable time of my career. So that was the process, was just building it daily. Jeremiah coming into our rooms, talking, me and Amber talking. Me and Amber start spending a lot of time developing these characters and thinking of, well, what is it? What are we doing here? And then next thing you know, we had a blast.
Yeah, and you know, Jeremiah, he's the one, he sold me on it, right? His passion came through the Zoom, right? It was a Zoom call. I never met him before in my life, but you could just tell that this wasn't just some writer writing some wrestling thing. Like, he was a passionate fan. This was, you know, written by a fan for the wrestling fans. I don't think you necessarily need to be a wrestling fan to enjoy this. You know, I think it tells the story of, you know, someone, you know, has been doing something their whole life. Now, what are they going to do? You know, their time, it's over, you know, whether they're retiring or going somewhere else. And then what do you do now? You've been this person your whole life. I think anybody can relate to that. But the wrestling aspect for me, I was able to just sink my teeth into it once I read the script. I'll be honest, I didn't realize I had that much to do. I didn't read the whole script. And then, oh man, I'm in this whole goddamn thing. So it was a very stressful situation for me, but man, what a blast. So I can't even put into words how fun and rewarding the two shows were.
Wow. So for you, Matt, that's so funny. Did you have any inclination to even want to be on Broadway, off Broadway, do theater? Because there are some similarities with pro wrestling and theater, but was that something that you ever anticipated for yourself?
It's definitely not something that, was in my plans for 2022, but when the opportunity presented itself, I always say I'm always ready. Right. And I wanted to take this chance and branch out. And, obviously there was a chance I could fall flat on my face. I don't think I did. It's still a work in progress for sure, but I thank everybody for helping me out. I came in there with a couple days. I've never done this before, and everybody was so encouraging. And they probably were talking shit about me behind my back, but to my face, they were helping me out, helping me with the lines, helping me feel comfortable. And once I felt comfortable, everything just kind of came together.
So for you, Matt, it was more so getting used to the idea of being in all of the scenes, which is a huge undertaking. But for you, Amber and Ramin, I mean, it's a huge undertaking when we're talking about the physicality and getting into the mindset of a wrestler and training, learning how to run ropes, because this is an immersive musical. What was that experience like for the both of you, actually getting into the rigors of professional wrestling and really thinking like a professional wrestler?
I'll go. It was vital and important because, as you said, there's a similarity between pro wrestling fans and theater fans, because it ultimately comes down to storytelling and people connecting with characters, whether they be it heroes or heels. And people want compelling stories. They want to be entertained. And giving Matt his credit, like, he didn't just show up and just be himself and be the heel that I know he plays in pro wrestling as well. But he was a great actor because he listened, he played the beats, his work ethic was above and beyond. So why wouldn't we match that to kind of give respect to the craft that he's bringing? And we wanted to learn, because we want wrestling fans who do come see it as well to be engaged with the physicality, the physical truth that these wrestlers and this story we're talking about, and the damage Ben Vengeance has taken, and also all these wrestlers that they take. And as Matt also brilliantly alluded to, it doesn't necessarily have to be a wrestling fan to have the story accessible to them. But I think bringing all that physical truth as well as the emotional truth and the cerebral truth all adds to what makes this so unique and different from anything else. And for us to experience that, I swear to you, I knew it was physical. You're athletes to do this, but taking those chops, it's not a trampoline, it's planks of wood, taking those bumps. And also to take bumps to sell it, you actually have to go against human, your natural way to fall is actually easier, but we have to sell it. So it hurts even more. But I don't know what it is. I know people will say, well, why would you do it? I'm like, it's like a drug. I'm like, maybe that's why not everyone wrestles, not everyone acts, and put it all together. I can't wait to get back in the ring.
Mm.
Yeah, going back to the audition portion of this, I don't know how you would be able to audition this show, honestly, because I think Ramin and I walked in more so than Ramin blind to it, because Ramin's been a wrestling fan and someone that appreciated that art form for years. And I really didn't know what I was getting into, but I mean, we started each day with 30 minutes of wrestling training. And I know the two of us, got hooked. I mean, it's something that we wanted to perfect and get better at, just because, we're with stars, athletic stars, that this is their everyday. And that was a huge challenge in this, is to make ourselves appear as if we are in the same world as them. And I think because we got so hooked and like kind of bit by the bug a little bit of loving it so much. I mean, we're continuing training. It's becoming something that like we are trying to interpret into our everyday lives, just to keep this process going, because it is so difficult to jump into a role like this and navigate doing a skill that we've never done before. So, but incredible also to say that this is like, I mean, Matt came in, knew all of his lines, stepped into this world of like acting and theater so incredibly. And I mean, I think Ramin and I are just trying to do the same. You're right, paying the same respect of like being the best we can at this art form of wrestling.
And I want to say you guys absolutely did. I was blown away when I walked in there. how much you were there for what, a week and a half at that point, and you knew how to bump, Amber jump off the top rope. Me had a full match. Like, if you go to the show, this isn't like some cinematic movie scene where the punches aren't hitting. We had a match, a full blown match. I don't care what anybody says, and it hurt. It hurt. Like, the next day, I woke up like that was a real match, and we had it twice in one day. Really 3 times because we went over it before. So
when you text me the next day, said you're hurting, I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, I'm dying. I was just able to call a chiropractor. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to give props to Alpha Jr. and Bull James for training everybody, because you watch this show. It seems like all these people have been wrestling for years. They've been wrestling for weeks, so that's a testament to how hard everybody was working, how seriously everyone was taking it.
For you, Matt, were you at all nervous for the first performance? And because for you as a pro wrestler, you're used to this world, but it's completely different when you're in front of a live theater audience, because theater fans, they're wrestling fans are hardcore. We know this. Theater fans are also hardcore. It's one and the same. But what was it like for you?
It was the most stressful experience of my life, both those shows. It didn't get easier the second show, because for me, when I'm wrestling, okay, I get nervous before, right? But my music hits, I walk out there, what do I have, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that's it, and I'm done. With the show, I do my scene, I got to go to the back. I don't even know my lines for the next scene. Read them real quick. What's my cue? I don't know. It was stressful. I was on the whole time, but that's the theater game. That's the world that these guys live in. They're used to this. They do this, 8 days a week, twice on one day. So it's unbelievable. I give these guys so much credit. Not that I thought it was going to be easy. I didn't think it was going to be easy at all. I did not anticipate how hard it was going to be.
Very fast.
I must have been in rehearsals before, because Matt came later because he was actually in England fighting. I remember going to Amber and we're going through this run throughs, and someone was stepping in for Matt at the time. I'm like, does Matt realize how many scenes and big monologues he's got? He'll be fine.
Yeah.
That is so great. Well, let's talk about your characters a little bit more. Let's start with you, Amber. Jenny, when we're talking about women in wrestling, and I have to bring this up, there's so many things, especially now in 2022, that fans want to see. And one of those things, when we're talking about wrestling, the wrestling industry and wrestling fans, they're clamoring to see more women in matches. They're clamoring to see more women's wrestling. They want to see women main eventing. We're in such a really interesting time, both within wrestling and theater, but especially as a woman in both of these worlds, straddling both of these worlds and having this experience. What was it like for you taking on this role as Jenny and really understanding the role of women in wrestling, especially today?
Yeah, ever since last match ended, I have been watching wrestling nonstop. I actually just watched Matt's wife, Chelsea, in a match the other night.
Oh, man.
And it is so incredible to see these women that have this platform showcasing that they can take these hits like men. They can be just as badass as men. It is so inspiring to watch. And to bring a character of that level of badassery into the theater world is it's epic. You don't see many stories on Broadway being told where women are the main character, stealing the show, helping their partner, and ultimately lifting them up at the end. It's a story that I am super proud to tell, and I think it's awesome that last match is putting a woman in the spotlight to kind of be the hero in the end of the story. And yeah, I'm excited that that's my story to tell and to kind of bring to life.
What I love about her part in the show is that this was, really in the 80s, like the show takes place in, she would, just be the eye candy, the manager, the valet. And, she's kicking ass. She kicks my ass in the match. Miss Elizabeth wouldn't have went to the top rope and gave Macho Man the crossbody and the scissor kick. That wouldn't have happened. But we're rewriting history and how it should have been. And she did a great job making it believable as well. And I'll tell you, that kick to the back of the head, woof, she got me.
You hear the audience's reaction on that? It was
I know.
amazing.
Yeah, there is an element to women's wrestling. It is so sexy, the sex appeal of it all, like watching these women, these gorgeous women, kind of emulating on stage. But yeah, to be able to show how strong and capable and powerful she is, along with that sex appeal to it all, is just super empowering and really fun to kick Matt Cardona's ass.
Fantastic. And you mentioned Chelsea Green,
Yeah.
Matt's wife. And I saw on social media that she was at the show. She was supporting you all. And what was her feedback to all of you? Because she's used to obviously seeing Matt, working with Matt. But for you, Amber and Ramin, I mean, how was that? Because I noticed she was there as well as Mickie James. So I would love to know what their feedback was as professional wrestlers to you all.
I mean, two legends. Mickie James, I have become now an ultimate fan of her. And Chelsea could not have been more supportive. And to have that kind of loving feedback from those two women that are at the height of their game was incredible. I mean, I just to kind of get that stamp of approval from them is like, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, because it is making and made them both proud. It felt awesome, and I will be training with Chelsea. I have a lot to learn. I've already told her, I was like, I'm coming to Florida. We are getting into training. They're amazing, and they couldn't have loved it more. And I actually want to get both of them in this show at some point.
Ooh. And Chelsea was absolutely blown away. I think she was a little jealous of me that I was at the show and she wasn't. But I think it wasn't just Chelsea, but I think everybody was blown away. Like my brother, who's like a jaded, wrestling fan, who doesn't just kiss my butt. He supports everything I do, but he'll tell me, hey, that sucked, or that was great. He was unbelievably blown away. He downloaded the album. He's been quoting the songs, and he's not a theater guy by any means, but I think it was just like something we've never seen before. Is the theater world meeting that wrestling world. I think when people thought this was a wrestling musical, be on some stage. Oh, there's no stage. It's a ring, a real ring. We're in there. We're acting. We're wrestling. We're kicking ass. We're singing. I don't think you can really put into words how special this show is. I think you have to come check it out.
Indeed, we do. Indeed, we do. And for you, Matt, I would also love to know, for your character, Alexander Swagger. I mean, us wrestling fans, you're a heel. You're definitely the quintessential heel. You're amazing. Yeah. You're fantastic at what you do. And to play this character and to see everything unfold, was there anything in the script that really touched you to the point where you were like, I can relate to Alexander besides, playing a heel? Was there anything else that really struck you and spoke to you?
I think the best part about the character is that it is part, my character in wrestling. It is part really any 80s, cocky villain like Ravishing Rick Rude or Macho Man, or even an early 90s Shawn Michaels. So it was really easy to just play like the ultimate bad guy. And it didn't hurt that when I flipped off the crowd, they were there to respond. This isn't like any other, wrestling show or theater show, because the fans are interacting, and like, I think it was different for me because I read the script and it's okay. Ramin and Matt, they're in the ring, ding, ding, ding. They lock up. But when the fans are chanting, you can't just lock up. You got, and that's why this is so interactive, because there's a script, but you got to listen to the people. I think the show went like 40 minutes longer than it was supposed to, because not just us, but everybody else was like, you have to interact with these people. And that's what makes everybody professionals. They were able to improvise and do that.
And for you, Ramin, being a wrestling fan prior to starring in The Last Match and really engrossing yourself in the role of Ben Vengeance, what parallels did you really relate to with the character and also being a professional actor?
Having the neck pain because my discs are terrible. I'm of a certain age now where I'm questioning certain things. So there was a very short conduit between me and Ben Vengeance. And that's the part of the story which I found compelling, that all the wrestling stuff is great. It's spectacular to watch, and it's going to get everyone amped up. But what keeps everyone connected to these characters is where they're coming from and who they are, whether it's, and even the heel Alexander, as you say, there's still something about his character, and between the playoff between Ben and Alex, talking about respect and earning things in life and whatnot. I think that's what speaks to people. And for me, Ben's story about his rite of passage, we live our lives in decades, who you are in your 20s, then it's a different life in 30s, different life in 40s. And Ben's hitting 50, so I was miscast, obviously. But, we have these questions. We question things in life because we keep changing. And then you add the element of who he's been all this time. And then he's got Jenny, who's about to come in and be the future. And he's wondering what dynamics that will be when he's no longer Ben Vengeance, the fighter, the star, just a normal civilian. Mm-hmm. So I really took that story. And then the child in me, even though I'm 44, thinking I'm 24, I get to do all these moves. Come on. I felt like the world champion. I can't believe it. As Matt was saying, I never expected the audience to do that. And to the point where some of my speeches, I'm like, this is not going to go over. I'm not the Undertaker. If he says these words, it'll make sense. But they made me feel like the world champion. And I'll never forget that night. And that's why I hope we continue to do this. But it was just unreal. And what I loved about the lines between theater fans and wrestling fans blurred, because everyone loves just storytelling. And even during the scenes, they were getting involved, but in such a way where they knew how much to be like, no, Ben, don't do it. And then they would sit and listen. I thought me and Amber have a 7-minute love duet in Act 2. I thought they'll check out, they'll get the beers or whatever. You could hear a pin drop. Like, they came for the ride from beginning to end. And I was blown away by how people connected and the different demographics of friends that I had, to the point where I kept going, you came? You liked it? It's like, holy shit.
we saw our theater friends acting like wrestling fans, screaming and hands cheering and going crazy. And then to see on the other side of things, the wrestling fans, the true wrestling fans, listening and paying such deep attention to our duet and our characters. It was such an amazing blend that audiences like this show will never be, I think, in a Broadway theater. It has the beauty of it, because it's immersive and everybody feels like they are part of the story, part of the wrestling. It's like an experience that can only be done in a certain way, in a certain theater with a certain group of people, because it's so special.
Yeah, the story is what makes this whole thing, because Ben Vengeance is not a real wrestling character. He hasn't really been on everyone's TV screens for 30 years, but the story was so well written, and we all told it so well that you're there for an hour and a half. You feel like you were there for 30 years and that you followed Ben through this journey, because that main event match, I've been wrestling for 19 years. It felt like a real wrestling match that people were invested in, but they only knew these characters for an hour and a half. How is that possible? I don't know. I can't explain it, but I felt it. I have goosebumps right now talking about it. That's how special those shows were. Especially the one at night where it was just people standing room only. It was incredible. It's an indescribable thing. And like Amber was saying, it has to be in this intimate setting. I don't think it could be in this on a stage in a theater. It has to be in a ring, darkly lit, like a wrestling show, feeling like a wrestling show. But we have real talented musicians, actors and actresses. I'm just happy to be there. There are really people who do this for a living, who are driving the show. And thank you for bringing me along with you, because I want to ride this out.
When I think it's only fair now, since you come into our world and you dove in with both feet into the deep end, I think me and Amber have got to come to your world and we can test our skills.
I knew this was coming.
I'm telling you, man. Name the time and place. I've got a victory that I'm willing to defend.
Listen, I love Ramin, but he is a competitive spirit. I saw right before I'm about to go up to that main event, he's doing push-ups. I'm like, come on. You already look great. You got to look better than me. So trust me, if we have another, whether it be a performance or a match, I'm going to mark my words. I'm going to be in better shape than Ramin, if that's even possible.
Listen, all I ask is like 2 to 3 months of training with Alpha and no script. I want a full match.
Hey, listen, where do I sign? I'm all about the buzz, the money, and the gold. And I want your title, Ben Vengeance.
I'm bringing my 8X title. And I'm going to bring Amber as my partner. You pick a partner.
Ooh.
And I'm going to bring our trainers.
I got someone in mind.
Wow. I'm witnessing history. I love this. I'm just here. I'm just in the corner watching, and we'd love to see it. We'd love to see this take place. So whether it's at Impact, NWA, Matt, I'll leave that to you.
We'll make it work. I'm always ready.
We got fans. We got supporters. We'll fill it.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about that.
Yes, I have no doubts. I mean, I had a friend that attended the show, sent me a selfie. I think it was about an hour and a half before it transpired, and the line was already around the block. And he was really taken aback at just how many people came out to see the last match. And after it was over, he texted me and he said it was fantastic. He praised everyone involved. He said he's never seen anything like it, and it was just something to behold. It's definitely a show that people need to go see. So congratulations to all three of you for making this a success and really blazing a path. This is history. We've never seen anything like this before. And I hear that it may happen citywide. So please talk to us about the possibilities of that happening, where you are in the process, and where we can potentially see this in Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, etc.
That needs a tour. But in the meantime, we'll let you know when we get back in the ring.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm committed to where this goes. I'm going to follow it because I know this thing is a success. Like I said, I was in there when I was just, doing the rehearsals. I was watching. I'm like, this could be something, because the songs are great and the matches are great. The story is fantastic. But when it all came together with the audience there, the audience was that missing piece, and they took it over the top. So we got to thank the audience for that. But wherever this goes, I'm going to follow it because this thing is going to be a success. Mark my words for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think Ramin and I both enjoy Broadway. We love Broadway. But this is like something that we have to follow and keep doing as well, just because we're both hooked at this point.
Yeah.
Wow. You both have the bug. I mean, Matt, for you, what is it like seeing Amber and Ramin get that wrestling bug? That look in a person's eye, you just know they're hooked.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell when we were wrestling in there, just the physicality from both of them. Trust me, I was laid it in, Ramin was laid it in, and then I told Amber bring it, and she did. So you could just tell that they'd been taking it very seriously, and for only 2 weeks or so, which is unbelievable. I was two naturals. And I don't want to throw that word around very often, but these two clearly two naturals, like they were meant to do this. Like this show was meant to happen. Like the role of Alexander Swagger, it wasn't written for me, but it feels like it was, just this perfect storm. And I'm so happy and fortunate to be a part of it.
Oh, just beautiful. It has been fantastic talking to all three of you. I feel like I could talk for another hour, but then maybe we'll do a part 2 because this was really lovely. Yeah. Do you all have any parting words as far as the show, what you all are working on right now? I know Amber and Ramin, we're Funny Girl now on Broadway. So congrats with that. And Matt, you are just kicking tail all over the country and internationally with wrestling. But if there's anything else you'd like to plug and let us know about, please do.
Well, I would just like to say everyone should go stream the album, download the album, and see the work that Silvana and Chris put into it. And, that the concept that Jeremiah did. The album is such great music, as Matt said, and it was so much fun to sing and perform. So that's a good starting point to catch up with if you don't know much about Last Match. And then Matt, Amber.
Well, I mean, I would say the same thing about this album. I've been singing it and playing it nonstop. I think Chelsea wants to team up with you guys against me. I think she's so sick of hearing it. Because it's just so catchy. It's great. All the song, just everyone involved, did such a great job. The cast, the crew, everybody. And it sounds like I'm kissing everyone's butt, but I am, because that's how great it was. It really was.
Honestly, everything that they've said. I mean, this wrestling show was written by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. I think it's for everyone, though. I think you can be a person in theater that just wants to check it out, and you're going to come and you're going to fall in love with it, because when you see passionate people on stage doing things that they love and telling a story that they love telling, you're going to walk away feeling fulfilled no matter what. Super proud of everything we've done with Last Match so far, and I think it's only going to get bigger, and I can't wait to see where the show goes next, and I hope that everyone comes to see it.
Just beautiful, all just super professionals. We are honored to have you on this show. Thank you all for sharing your time and your talents and just being you. It is truly an honor sitting here, and we can't wait to see the Last Match, wherever it ends up. If it stays in Jersey, goes to New York, we are here for it. I know I'll be one of the first in line. So thank you once again. And thank you all for watching On the Rise with Candace Cordelia. Please stay tuned for more exclusive interviews and scoops on Broadway World. Check out the Last Match. Go to the website, see what Amber, Matt, and Ramin are up to. Always check out the wrestling if you can, if you're a wrestling fan, or if you're not a wrestling fan, now's your chance to immerse yourself in this world, because we're seeing wrestling and theater come together in such a beautiful way. Thank you all for staying tuned to what we have to present, and we can't wait to see you next time. Until then, take care.